You know, we spend a lot of time in the city, but more and more, and mostly by popular demand, we're venturing into the suburbs. It's a running gag among my friends that once I cross 8 Mile, or if I go too far west, say west of Wyoming or Telegraph, that I start to turn to dust and blow away into thin air. But I'm here to tell you that this simply isn't the case. And to prove this, today it's to the west downtown of Dearborn. There's a new spot, Longboard by Jolly Pumpkin, that piqued our interest along Michigan Avenue. And that is where we're visiting today. This is your Daily Detroit for December 18th, 2019. I'm Jer Stays. Me and Randy Walker's conversation right after we thank a sponsor. Our show this week is brought to you by, in part, the Sleigh Ball. It's a winter dance party this Saturday night featuring Raven from RuPaul's Drag Race and an ensemble of local drag queens and DJs. The event takes place at St. Andrews Hall and opens at 9 p.m. And the party, we're told, goes on all night. And Daily Detroit listeners get a discount. Use code DailyDetroit25 to get 25% off regular or VIP tickets. There will be a link in the show notes, or visit facebook.com/hardtopdetroit for more information. Randy Walker, welcome back to the studio.
It's always a pleasure.
So, we had a lot of fun the other day, didn't we?
Yeah. Not only did we get to attend a event at Ford, we got to test out the new Jolly Pumpkin concept longboard.
Yeah, and one of the things I like about that 1-2 punch of that night is that it's really clear to me that Dearborn is starting to develop a downtown that is really walkable and enjoyable. Not that they haven't always had things. They've always had great food in Dearborn. So many fun culinary things to go for. But I really like that they're getting together like this kind of walkable district.
Yeah, part of that is this new Wagner place that houses Ford and will eventually house, I believe, 7 restaurants.
Yeah, it's part of their whole Ford land thing that they're doing. And if this is the kind of stuff that we're going to see in Corktown as Ford's doing more investments, I'm actually kind of excited because, that dense walkable thing, that's what we're supposed to have in cities.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's talk about the belle of the ball, the darling of this episode, Longboard. Now, this is a concept by Jolly Pumpkin, and I would say, Randy, in general, I've always had really good experiences there.
Yeah, I enjoy Jolly Pumpkin. I used to work in Ann Arbor and would go to the downtown Ann Arbor Jolly Pumpkin frequently. And
one of the things about Jolly Pumpkin is that it is much more of a group of concepts as opposed to one concept. You think about a chain, and this isn't necessarily a chain, but if you think about something like an Applebee's or a whatever, they're all the same. But with Jolly Pumpkin, there are elements that are shared, but each place seems to have its own identity.
It's completely unique. They all have the truffle fries, of course, but then, Ann Arbor has mussels on the menu.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. My experience is more with the Midtown place, and I feel like there's a lot more pizza and things there. But Dearborn, let's talk about this place. It just opened less than a month ago or about a month ago. And some of the first impressions we walked in the door, this place is big.
It's huge. Yeah. I was definitely impressed by the size of the place and how open it is, even though they have all of those decorations up.
Well, and they have all of those decorations. So the thing about this one is that it's a tiki theme. If you go to Jolly Pumpkins, you usually see things that say aloha or whatever, science. But this one's definitely much more like hands deep into the tiki thing.
Yeah, they definitely take the tiki theme and run with it. They've got a bunch of fun tiki patterned booth seats. They've got longboards, surfboards hanging from the ceilings. There's bamboo in places, some Polynesian art. So they definitely embrace the tiki here.
Well, I saw you be excited because I know that you, sir, are a regular at tiki bars.
I am indeed. I spend a lot of time at Lost River. Longboard doesn't quite go as extreme as a full-on tiki bar, but it's definitely a tiki-themed place.
Now, my question is at least for me, I just kind of enjoy the tiki. I think they could have gone even farther.
Absolutely. There is a long way they could have gone. But it's a good on-ramp to tiki, let's call it.
A tiki on-ramp. Although there were some really nice details, like you were talking about before we got on the air here about these booths.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting you pulled out a very specific thing.
Yeah, so each of the booths, there's a couple of different patterns they use for the cushions on the booths. Vibrant colors with tiki themes, huts and things like that.
So one of the things I think people might not realize about the longboard is that, you look at the signage, you look at the marketing, they say Pacific Plate pours, the Longboard by Jolly Pumpkin. But nowhere in there really does it talk about the fact that this is actually a tasting room, Randy.
Right, so that means they can only serve their own products, their own beers, and their own spirits. In addition to the Jolly Pumpkin and North Peak beers, they have civilized and Old Mission spirits.
What does that mean from a mixology point of view? Help me out, because although I enjoy a good tiki drink, and I make a few things, like, I mean, Boulevardier, which is not a tiki drink, but like, I am not as versed as you.
So, for example, rums. There are dozens of different rums that you would find at a tiki bar, but
You mean there's more than Bacardi in the world?
Absolutely, for sure. And even different styles of rums. But because they can only serve their own spirits, I saw only 2 listed on the menu. They had something that just said rum and a spiced rum. So I'm not sure if those were 2 different.
Like the Acme rum, like just
Yeah.
rum.
So I'm not sure. I'm assuming that would probably be a silver rum, and then the spiced rum is probably something with some color in addition to the spice. But, tiki drinks also call for agricole rums or Jamaican rums, pot still, coffee still, different types of rum made different ways throughout the world.
Well, one of the drinks I really enjoyed, me personally, I am one of those crazy people who is a gin fan. And there was a drink called the Eddie that I enjoyed a lot. And I found out later that's kind of a twist on a classic tiki drink, the Saturn.
Yeah, so the Saturn is a classic Smuggler's Cove tiki drink.
Oh, okay, so help me out. What does that mean?
Smuggler's Cove is one of the OG tiki concepts, experiences.
Okay.
They put a nice twist on the Eddie by infusing the gin with hibiscus flowers.
Oh, wow. See, that's maybe why I liked it so much. Like, even if I go to like some coffee shops or whatever and get like hibiscus tea or things like that, I'm always a fan of it.
Yeah, it's a great flavor, nice and tart, bright pink colors.
And so the hibiscus was kind of like the difference maker in that, right? Like, because normally the Saturn is just is the passion fruit.
Passion fruit, falernum, orgeat, gin, lemon juice.
Okay.
So the hibiscus is definitely what makes it the Eddie from the Saturn.
Right. And they have draft cocktails and things like that. But I think for me anyway, the Eddie was the one that I like walked away with going that I was really, really happy with.
Yeah, of the drinks we tried that night, I would have to agree with that. The Eddie was my favorite too.
Well, and so the other thing about Jolly Pumpkin is that they're really into beer and sour beer. And I know you're a fan of sour beer. Can you kind of talk about what sour beer is for the uninitiated and like why you like it so much?
Usually when you think of beer, you think of something that's hoppy or bitter, but sour beer is usually fermented by a couple of different types of bacteria. So it really has this like warhead, pucker your cheeks tartness to it.
Okay. And that just gives it a whole different flavor profile.
Absolutely. Opposite end of the spectrum. Sour to bitter. Completely different ends
and
of the range.
In the pantheon of sour beers, how does Jolly Pumpkin stack up?
Jolly Pumpkin's good. A lot of good flavors. A lot of unique blends that they come up with. So pretty stock, solid sour beer.
And we tried a few of them. Were there any of the ones that specifically you liked, or were you just kind of in sour beer heaven?
They had a variation of their Oro de Calabaza, which is Gold of the Pumpkin, with blackberry and lime.
Okay.
The blackberry didn't add sweetness to it. You could really taste the dry, just blackberry flavor.
Well, and being a tap room, they serve a lot of interesting stuff. They also have a holiday beer.
Yeah, that was good too. That was a little strong, a little potent, but
well, I mean, I was just recently at Brewery Faison, and I'm like, oh, the 8.6, the 9, I'm in.
So yeah, maybe limit yourself to 2 of those.
Yeah, keep yourself, or call an Uber.
Absolutely.
All right, so moving on, because there is just so much to cover with this place, because they've got food too.
Yeah, they do a couple of unique things, and I guess, like I said, all of the Jolly Pumpkins have their unique takes, but they do like poke bowls, and I had a poke wrap.
Okay.
The flavors of that were pretty good, actually. I had macadamia nuts and avocado spicy sauce. It was pretty good.
Yeah, one thing I would look at is that, like, I feel like it was definitely kind of strong on the flavors with the tuna. Like, just kind of like tweak the balance on that a little bit, but it's really good.
The tuna got kind of lost amongst those other strong flavors, so just some growing pains.
Yeah, like these are like minor nitpicks. This is a really good dish. One I really enjoyed. I never knew that I would like pickled grapes. I had no idea that A, that was a thing, and B, that I would like them so much.
Yeah, that's certainly a unique ingredient on their vegan taco.
And that's the other thing is, so I am a unabashed meat eater. I tried the vegan tacos in honor of our co-host Sven, who couldn't make it to the event, who's always into I should say the healthier sides of things. And you know what? They executed it really well. I think what I like about it is I'm big into, if you're going to do vegetarian or vegan food, it should really taste like what it is. And they did a really nice job with the flavor balances and everything on that.
And then Cheyenne was also with us, and she had the chicken sandwich, which is a Jolly Pumpkin staple as well.
Yeah, and we tried all these things.
Yeah, it was on the menu here too. So, if you've been to another Jolly Pumpkin and want to stay in a comfort zone, then, the truffle fries, the chicken sandwich.
Well, and one thing about that chicken sandwich I thought, and I had forgotten about this, is that I think it's actually a sriracha-infused bun.
Yes, that was an interesting experience.
Interesting. I enjoyed it. I personally liked it a lot. Well, I think this is a nice addition to downtown Dearborn. That Michigan and Oakwood corridor is seeing a lot. And, you're close to so much stuff. You could stop by this place like on the way to Greenfield Village or the Henry Ford. Yep. And then there's just like Dearborn's got a bunch of interesting things. And if you're not feeling like your Middle Eastern food when you head out that way or you're going through downtown Dearborn, I say thumbs up on this place.
I do too. Yeah, I'll definitely visit this with friends when I'm in the area.
All right, and we'll have a link to it in the show notes. And Randy, thanks so much for coming on another culinary adventure.
My pleasure.
All right, that'll do it for today. And for tomorrow's show, we are going to dive into a bunch of stories around town, and I'm looking forward to it. Also, thanks to our members on Patreon that make this whole thing possible. You can join them at patreon.com/dailydetroit. And if you have feedback or tips for the show, send us a note at dailydetroit@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And it really does help shape what we focus on. Well, thanks for listening. I'm Jer Stays. Take care of each other, and we'll see you around Detroit.